li ha mandati a...
We are on to the next phase, and it's getting even more difficult for your judges because all the teams are doing such an incredible job. I was asked to make just a comment about the quarterfinal scenario that we did because, again, we don't debrief these, but there are important learning points. So just to recap the quarterfinal scenario, it was a 6-year-old with chronic kidney disease who had been sick for a few days with viral symptoms and essentially presented in acute respiratory failure with hypoxemia and was also in shock with tachycardia and hypotension. The things that the team discovered as they were doing their exam was that the patient had peripheral edema, had hepatomegaly, was showing blood pressure with a very narrow pulse pressure, and ultimately the teams, as they thought about the reason for all of these findings, the patient was found to have a pericardial effusion with tamponade. So if you think about the mechanism of that, essentially the patient had fluid expansion, had too much fluid, but in the wrong place. It was around the heart and it was preventing return of venous blood to the heart and therefore lowering cardiac output. And so the patient was getting progressively worse, and there was no good way other than draining the fluid to make this better. Temporarily, if you give a small fluid bolus, you increase venous return and increase cardiac output, but it doesn't fix the problem forever. And the potential risk to a patient whose circulation is very compromised with poor venous return is if you try to treat the hypoxemia with positive pressure ventilation, you might induce worse hypotension or even cardiovascular collapse. So it's a very advanced scenario, very tricky physiology going on, and both of the teams that I saw did a terrific job. I know the teams all got there a little bit differently in the different rooms, but we are ready to go with our semifinals. If you have questions, you can see any of the judges to hear more about that scenario that we didn't formally debrief. Okay? All right. I know what you're really waiting for. So I'm going to announce the 4 finalists. So we will have only 2 rooms running this time around. The finalists for the semifinals, first of all, Bologna. Bologna, you will appropriately go to room B, and you will be going to room B with Udine. Now that leaves room A, and in room A, we are going to have the last 2 teams, and they are Trieste and Florence. Back shortly.
Ragazzi, le squadre che non giocano devono stare in stanza isolamento, non nella stanza ovviamente dove si vede la simulazione. Ragazzi, chi non gioca deve stare in stanza isolamento.
Le squadre che non giocano,
Le 2 che non giocano, le 4 squadre vengano tutte su perché 2 vanno isolate.